Today, we're going to talk about the other C word. And no, I'm not talking about COVID. I'm talking about the corrupted blood pandemic of 2005. Now, to give some context, this didn't actually happen in real life. This happened in a video game called World of Warcraft. And in 2005, Blizzard released a new region called Zul'Gurub with a new boss character called Hakkar the Soul Flayer. Now, Hakkar the Soul Flayer had a unique healing mechanic where if the player injured him enough, he would heal himself by draining the health from the player and rejuvenating himself in exchange, as well as infecting the player with a disease that we call the corrupted blood debuff. Players were intended to reinfect Hakkar with his own disease, ultimately killing him and leading to the player's victory. But there was a catch. The corrupted blood debuff had become a pandemic, server-wide. And here's how. Basically, we have to look at the little guy next to the player. The pets. The pets had become essentially disease vectors for the corrupted blood debuff. Essentially, players would safeguard their pets during combat encounters, but this wouldn't make the pets immune to getting the corrupted blood debuff. Players, upon seeing that their pet was infected, would panic, teleport to major cities like Stormwind City, release their pet, and try to heal them or cure them somehow. But the damage had already been done. Pets would consequently reinfect their owners, and their owners would infect other players, and this caused a domino effect of disease, now leading to what we know as the corrupted blood pandemic, leading to the death of many, many players. This is largely because in order to cure the disease, you must defeat Hakkar the Soul Flayer. But because most of these players were not in any encounter with Hakkar the Soul Flayer, most of them died within 10 minutes. This corrupted blood debuff had spread across both Kalimdor and Eastern Kingdoms, the two continents of Azeroth, which is the world that World of Warcraft is in, and it had become complete pandemonium. Players responded in many ways. Some of them, mostly paladins, would try to remove the debuffs by entering major infected cities, but this was mostly futile as paladins would become infected themselves and die, and people who were healed would be reinfected again. There were the town criers who stood at the edges of cities and warned others to not enter, lest they risk being infected, and there were even the quarantiners who isolated themselves to avoid infection. There were also the griefers who purposely infected themselves and went to other cities to infect as many people as possible. But why is this important? Well, mathematical models for pandemics don't really account for human behavior, and this is especially seen in the recent COVID-19 pandemic. We can use the corrupted blood pandemic in World of Warcraft as a model for how human behavior affects the consequences and the results of pandemics. And as science and scientific research continues on, there is future hope, in my opinion, for using video games as stimulations for further research in epidemiology and other fields like this. Thank you for listening.